Caitlin Clark could be refusing to use Indiana Fever medical staff.
Caitlin Clark has just fired a loud and clear warning shot at the Indiana Fever's medical staff. And Stephanie White's latest comments only serve to confirm it.
Looks like she's in pain.
After suffering yet another injury, it seems Caitlin has completely lost confidence in the team's medical support and is now taking matters into her own hands. It's as though the face of the franchise has walked away from the very people assigned to keep her healthy. And the implications are far from subtle. But before we dive into this breakdown in trust, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Caitlin Clark made the right decision by stepping away from the Fever's medical staff after enduring so many repeated setbacks?
Caitlin Clark has already been ruled out for tomorrow's game, Tuesday night, against New York in New York.
It's beginning to feel like Caitlin Clark has hit her limit with what can only be described as a chaotic and unreliable medical situation inside the Indiana Fever organization. And honestly, who can fault her? When your star player is constantly battling injuries and the team's medical team seems as dependable as a screen door on a submarine, it might be time to bring in some real pros. Stephanie White recently shared insights that all but confirm what many fans and observers have suspected for weeks. Clark no longer trusts the Fever's in-house medical staff and has decided to take a more personal approach to her recovery. Let's look at the facts, because Stephanie White's recent remarks are full of subtle indicators pointing to a much bigger problem. When she was questioned about Clark's health status, her answer contained a detail that most people seem to have overlooked, but it's incredibly telling.
Well, I haven't seen since the game last night, but I think she's progressing. I think that we're continuing to address everything that needs to be addressed. She's going to see some doctors and get some more tests run early in the week. I don't expect her to be available on Tuesday, so we're just going to continue to take it one day at a time and let her get her evaluations early this week, and then once we've done that, hopefully we'll have more of a clear line of what it looks like.
White said that Caitlin would be seeing some doctors and undergoing further testing early in the week. She didn't say our doctors or the team's medical staff. She said some doctors. That choice of words isn't accidental. It's not the phrasing you use when a player is sticking with the usual team physicians. That's the type of language that signals a player has gone outside the organization and is seeking independent medical advice, likely because she no longer believes the team doctors are up to the job.
They look like two different doctors just told the shocking truth about Caitlin.
And the timing couldn't be more striking. This move comes right on the heels of multiple licensed medical experts publicly criticizing how the Fever have been managing Caitlin's injuries. When outside professionals start speaking up on social media, you know the issue has gone way beyond locker room whispers. Dr. Jesse Morris, a well-known sports medicine physician, didn't hold back. He outright condemned the Fever's medical handling, saying their methods just weren't adequate. He didn't say could use improvement or fall short here and there. He flatly stated not enough. In medical circles, that translates to professional failure. Clark's injury history tells its own story. From the start of the season, she's dealt with groin and quad problems. First a left groin strain, then another strain, then one on the right side. She hasn't made it through 5 consecutive full games without some physical issue flaring up. Something is clearly off. This isn't just a case of typical wear and tear from elite play. It either speaks to horrible injury luck or deep flaws in how the medical team is treating her. And when the same kind of injury keeps showing up again and again, blaming luck stops being a valid excuse. Repeated injuries like these usually mean that the root cause hasn't been properly addressed. Sports medicine experts have explained that groin issues are tough to recover from, and, if mishandled, can become chronic. And right now, that seems to be exactly what's happening. What's even more concerning is that several doctors are now saying Clark might need more advanced treatments, things like stem cell injections or hyperbaric oxygen therapy. These aren't common procedures, and most team setups aren't equipped to provide them. When Dr. Morris referenced stem cell injections targeting specific tendons, that's an entirely different level of care. And it's unlikely the Fever have that capability in-house. That kind of treatment requires specialists and high-end facilities. Stephanie White's injury updates have also drawn criticism for being inconsistent and unclear. She's continued calling Clark's status day to day, while outside experts note that groin strains generally require weeks to heal properly. That's either a lack of communication from the medical team or a failure to understand the injury's seriousness. And then there's the confusion around when White even found out about Clark's condition. At one point, she said she only learned about the injury the night before Caitlin was ruled out. That signals either a major internal breakdown or a medical team operating without proper coordination. Clark is now reportedly reaching out to other doctors to figure out what's really going on. That action alone shows she's lost trust in the team's guidance and is looking for second opinions from experts she believes can help. The financial impact of all this? Enormous. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star. She's the WNBA's biggest name and a driving force behind the league's growth. If she keeps getting sidelined due to poor injury management, it doesn't just hurt the Fever. It threatens the league's momentum. From Clark's perspective, her decisions make complete sense. She's still in the early stages of her pro career, and she's already facing a frustrating pattern of injuries. This is when her market value is at its peak, so of course she's going to look for the absolute best medical support, even if it means turning her back on the team doctors. And when you compare this to other major leagues, the discrepancy is glaring. NBA stars routinely seek second opinions and explore cutting-edge treatment options when facing persistent health issues. The fact that this seems unusual in the WNBA only highlights deeper problems within the league's medical infrastructure. That comparison to the Chicago Bulls and their handling of Derrick Rose's injuries has come up a lot lately, and it's not without reason. The Bulls developed a reputation for poor injury management, and if the Fever are following that path, it should set off alarm bells. What's most alarming is how quickly things went downhill. Clark was performing at a high level, then suddenly she's dealing with back-to-back soft tissue problems. That either points to serious gaps in conditioning or major mistakes in medical care. Now, some doctors are urging an extended break from competition to avoid risking long-term harm. You don't hear recommendations like that unless something is seriously wrong, and Stephanie White's public statements haven't helped clarify anything. She keeps calling Caitlin's situation day to day, then contradicts herself by admitting there's no clear timetable for return. That kind of mixed messaging only adds to the confusion. Clark missing the All-Star game only worsened public perception. She was meant to be the event's headline star, and she missed it because of an injury that many believe was mishandled from the start. That's a huge failure for both the team and the league. Fans have every right to be angry. There's growing concern that the Fever might not be capable of protecting their most valuable asset. And when fans lose faith, it affects everything, from attendance and merchandise sales to overall team morale. The media has tried to keep things diplomatic, but it's obvious they're concerned too. Reporters are starting to press the team on why Clark is now seeking outside opinions, and those questions aren't being asked for fun. The worst part? This drama is playing out in full view of the public. In other leagues, these sorts of crises usually get handled quietly behind the scenes. The fact that this has become a media spectacle shows just how fragile the relationship is between Clark and the Fever right now. This could even shake things up inside the locker room. If your franchise player doesn't believe in the team doctors, what message does that send to her teammates? Will others start following her lead and looking elsewhere for medical advice? Even the WNBA office is likely keeping a close watch. They can't afford for their biggest name to keep missing games because of preventable injuries. At some point, league leadership may have to step in to ensure Caitlin receives the high-quality care that her status and the WNBA's future demands.